Welcome to another episode of Beat the Odds. I'm your host, Vernell Watts. First and foremost, this podcast is sponsored by Fortune 800. For all of your credit needs, go to www.fortune800.com and my brand new ebook that'll be out in February. And if you want to get on the wait list, the Credit Cash Machine, 7 steps to help you turn your credit into a cash machine. That'll be in the link below as well. Now, in this episode, I want to speak a little bit about a mindset shift that I had that made me or caused me to triple my income, and the experience and how it came about and what I learned. So I was doing decent in business. I started to do well and started to scale my business to 6 figures rather quickly within a span of like 3 months. At a certain point, I said, when I make this amount of money, I'll go ahead and get a brand new BMW M340i. That was the car I had been writing down in my notebook for maybe about 5 or 6 months before I actually had bought it. I was writing down the exact price, payment, everything. I had it all written out. I knew exactly what I wanted. I went in and I got to that point and I went into the BMW dealership, got all the paperwork situated, got the payment that I wanted, zeroed down, and I was happy. Signed the papers. It took a long time. You guys know how it is at the car dealerships. But it took a while to actually get everything situated. But once I did, I was super excited. I was driving my car way faster than I should have been. And overall, I was just excited because it was a goal that I had written down and I achieved it. So 2 weeks into it, I'm driving the car. I'm really enjoying it. And I get a call from the manager, the finance manager at BMW. He gives me a call and says, hey, the deal that we put together might not work. Would you be willing to put more money down? And in my head, I'm thinking no, because in my notebook, what I wrote down is that I was going to get it for 0 down. That's what I wrote down in my notebook, like I said, for 6 months. So when he called me and let me know that, he said, here are your 3 options. You can come in and you can put a lot more money down. You can come in and have your mom co-sign for you. And that was definitely out of the question. And 3, I could change it from a lease to a financing it, because I only wanted to lease it because I had plans to upgrade to a Porsche not long after I got the BMW. So I only wanted to lease it. And I said, none of those work for me. I don't want to put any extra down or any down at all. I'm definitely not having my mom come in and co-sign for me. And I'm not going to switch it over to a finance car over a lease because, you know, with BMWs, they're not even meant to last past the lease term. After that, you're going to have all kind of problems with maintenance and just a headache, right? So I say, I'm going to go ahead and give you your car back. And he's like, well, we want to get something worked out for you. We want to make sure that you do get the deal. And we're going to do everything in our power. We're doing everything. We're doing everything. That's what he emphasized. We're doing everything for you. I'm like, yeah, right, dude. You're just trying to get the deal done. But a few days go by. I bring in the car. And I go to the front desk. And I say, hey, where's the finance manager? I'm ready to turn in this car. None of the options that he gave me work for me, and I'm ready to turn it in. So they go and get him. I go into a room with them, and he's like, oh, I got something really, really good for you. Something really, really good that I think you'll like. And he whips out this the adjusted version of the deal. It's $3,500 down. The payment is much lower. And he's like, so how does that look? And I'm like, no. Because first, it went against what I said I was going to put down. Now, going forward, especially in 2021, make your word and what you write down law. If you write it down and if you say you're going to get it at a certain term or at a certain time, make that law. So I wouldn't put $3,500 down because that wasn't what I wrote down. So I wasn't going to go against my word and I wasn't going to budge not one bit. So what he does then, after continuous pressure, like, come on. And I'm like, no, I'm staying firm. I'm staying solid. And he leaves and he's like, okay, I thought you'd really, really like this deal. And I was like, well, you thought wrong. And he leaves and he goes and prints out a sheet of all my available credit card limits. So it's about 6 figures in credit card limit available. And he says, oh, you said you don't have any money to put down, but you have all this credit card limit. I'll let you put it on a credit card just special for you just this one time, which is also BS because you can put it on your down payment on a credit card at any time. So he told me, oh, he can do it for me special just this one time. And I'm like, no, dude. And you went and pulled up my credit card information about the credit limits that I had available to try to force me into putting down $3,500 for the car. And he was like, okay, how about if we write you a check for $1,000 to and we mail it to you. You put the $3,500 down today, and we mail you the $1,000 check. And I'm like, no, it's not going to work. That goes against my word. And keep in mind, I'm staying so firm on my word that after I returned this car, I didn't have one anymore. I already sold my other car, but my word was my law, and I wasn't going to go against that. So I stayed solid on my word. Now, after that whole thing went down, I was pissed. And I'm thinking, man, I don't want another car. This is just too much. This is a headache. I did all this, and now I don't even have a car. But not that I didn't have the $3,500 to put down, the $3,000 to put down. I could have put it down easy, but it went against what I had already said. So I started to think. At the time, I was advertising and spending maybe $800 a month in advertising, very little. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I started spending $3,500 in marketing, because I had the extra money. I no longer had a car payment or insurance payment, and I had rent saved up for months. So I didn't really have too many great expenses, and my business expenses were also pretty low as well. So I'm like, what if I take $3,500 and put it in advertising? So I took that $3,500 that I could have put in the car, and I started using it to advertise, and I started to grow like crazy. I started using Facebook ads, Instagram ads, shout out pages, everything that I could to be more visible, and my business grew like crazy. Now I'm thinking about getting something way more than the BMW that I was getting before, because I took that money, and instead of just rushing to go put all of it in a car or all of it into something that isn't going to pay me, I used it to grow my brand, to grow my presence, to continue to connect with more influencers, to ultimately grow my income. Now, if you want to grow your income in 2021, you have to understand this. If no one knows you, no one can buy from you. You have to be out there, not only in ads, not only in shout outs, but organic marketing and everything. You have to invest in improving your production quality and everything else, because when somebody goes to purchase whatever it is that you have to sell, and they've seen you 10 times, and your message is more clear, and you connect with that person versus the person who just wants to do all organic, doesn't want to spend a dime, and they're just spamming out content, versus you being tactical on how you get in front of the people that you want to sell to and get in front of them over and over and over again, you will triple your income going into 2021. Like I tripled my income when I decided, hey, I'm going to invest in advertising more than I have before. I was just doing small things, right? Instagram influencers. I lost my train of thought. Instagram influencers, shout outs. That was like my main thing. And I was only spending about $100 a month doing that. Now I went from only spending $800 a month doing that to spending $10,000 a month in advertising and getting a hefty ROI each month doing that. So what can you start to invest in outside? Where can you take money that you put in maybe depreciating assets like clothes, cars? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't get those things, because my focus on not only just this podcast, but anytime you consume content from me is not to tell you that you can't do something, not to tell you not to eat out, not to buy this car, not to go here. It's to show you how you can do it, because I'm not worried about, oh, I can't do this, I can't get that car. That wasn't my focus, because I knew I could get that car when they were asking for the $3,500 down, I knew I could. And the fact that I didn't, even though I could, I knew that I was really detached from it. I could care less about it, and I wanted to build my business and have greater impact in my market. So what can you look at? Maybe it's the amount of money you're spending on clothes, eating out. And I'm not saying not to do these things. I'm saying to invest in your business even more. So doing those things isn't even a thought. You spend the money and it's like picking up a bar of candy. You go and you buy a new car and the payment is like getting a bar of candy at the grocery store. That's the ultimate goal, because we're trying to figure out how we can do more things, how we can start to invest, how we can grow our income, not how can we save more, how can we retract, how can we expand, get in front of more people, and make more money. Now, that's the main thing that I'm focusing on in 2021 is just getting in front of more people and investing in it in many, many different ways, ads, shout outs, collaborations, and it'll massively grow your income, because you'll be able to get in front of more people and it'll help you refine your message when you do get in front of those people. So that's going to be it for this podcast, guys. Like I said, this podcast is sponsored by Fortune 800. For all your credit needs, go to www.fortune800.com. And for my brand new ebook that'll be coming out in February, The Credit Cash Machine, go to www.thecreditcashmachine.com/waitlist to get on the waitlist for the brand new ebooks. 7 steps to turn your credit into a cash machine. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I'm out.